Earlier this week, my next guest caused a global debate with this headline, claiming that she would not let her daughter attend a nursery school purely because one of the workers was too overweight. Well, that woman, Hilary Freeman, is with us now alongside plus-size blogger Becky Barnes. Good morning. Hilary, you have opened a can of worms, haven't you? So just to go back to that headline, why I refuse to let my daughter be taught by a fat teacher. I know that was slightly out of context.
Yeah, I don't write the headlines. The subs at newspapers write the headlines, and it was a slightly exaggerated version of what I said in the article, which was that I'd been concerned when I went to visit a nursery that at the nursery, one of the nursery assistants who was looking after my daughter when she was visiting was very obese, and morbidly obese, I would say. She moved very slowly, she couldn't breathe very well, and I was just concerned that she wouldn't be able to have the reactions necessary to look after a toddler who darts all over the place. And also, it wasn't just that. The other part was that at the nursery, the food choices that I saw weren't the sorts of things I would give my daughter. They were having jam sandwiches, and I just thought that this wasn't a healthy lesson to teach her, really, and I wanted her to go somewhere where there was better food choices and where obesity wasn't the norm.
Mm-hmm. OK, and off the back of this, however, you've been completely ostracised, in fact, for these comments, and indeed even friends and various people relatively close to you are saying, I just can't believe you've spoken out about this. Why do you think that is? Why has it
I think
been such a backlash?
It's touched a nerve. I think people are incredibly sensitive about weight, and I think people didn't really... Maybe it was the way I phrased it, maybe it's my mistake, but I didn't phrase things perhaps in the right way. And I think the debate has got mixed up with appearance, and it's not about appearance. I don't mind. I think, you know, big women can look fantastic. I think Becky looks amazing. It's not about how good you look. And a lot of the fat positivity movement is all about we're big, we're beautiful. And all I'm trying to say is it's more beautiful to be healthy, and I just want people to be a healthy weight and not to celebrate obesity because it's making people ill.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that, Becky?
I mean, myself, I come from a health at every size kind of viewpoint. I think that you can't make snap judgments on people's health just by looking at them. Obviously, if you're a qualified doctor and you've done a lot of tests and things like that, then you can understand someone's health better. But purely just by looking at them, I don't think you can make that snap judgment. And I think that's... The thing is, you said, oh, I think it touched a nerve. Of course it touched a nerve. Fat people are constantly vilified every single day because of their appearance, because of their so-called health choices or perceived health choices. And of course it's going to touch a nerve. It's the body we're living in, it's the life we're living in, it's the abuse that we get every single day from people walking down the street, in the workplace. So, of course, it is a very kind of touchy subject, but yeah, it's hard,
yeah. But then I guess you're talking from the health perspective, and we do know that being certainly morbidly obese, there is an increased risk of all sorts of diseases.
I didn't choose the nursery just based on the fact that this teacher was morbidly obese. I looked at all the other factors as well, and obviously you can have skinny people who are awful teachers and horrible people, and you can have large people who are fantastic teachers. And of course I wouldn't choose someone just because of their appearance, because they were slimmer.
I think as well, by that stretch, you can also have thin people who have terrible diets as well, who are constantly eating crisps.
Very true. Yes,
they have high cholesterol, and again, that's why it's. I think probably you got so much comeback was because to make that judgment purely based on visually seeing them. I understand the jam sandwich thing. I wouldn't choose to feed my daughter jam sandwiches either, but as far as I know, the food that nurseries feed children should be under a kind of government regulation. So whether that was food that they brought in, whether it's packing up that the other families have brought in, but as far as I know, I think they have to stick to certain regulations and things. So I don't know on that one.
But one of the interesting things about the backlash that I got was that people were saying that, you know, that because I talked about the fact that I've got a thyroid problem. There's also, I've got obesity in my family, so I'm not naturally skinny. You know, I'm not skinny, I'm a healthy weight. And I have to to do that, I have to work at it. And people were saying the amount that I eat is far too little and I'm starving my daughter and I'm going to cause eating disorders. And I think people have lost sight of what a normal amount of food is and what a normal portion size is. I'm not saying that you have, I'm just saying in general, and a lot of the things that people were saying to me were that you can't possibly live on what you're eating, you know, and I think that's part of the problem. I think because everybody has got so much bigger, nobody can sort of see what the norm is. You know, people didn't used to be as big as they are now, so why is this problem increasing?
I think for me, sorry, Christine, I think that, yes, and this is the whole kind of issue around it, is that the whole issue of obesity and fatness is that it is very complex. It's to do with, it can do with poverty, health, all different contributing factors. So this is, again, this is why it's so hard that you go in there and say something about somebody and you don't know the story behind them, you don't know why they're like that, and it's all very easy for us to make judgments in life about people, but what we should actually do is take a step back and say, you know what, I don't know that person's personal struggles, and I don't know, and I'm just going to say, if you're doing that job and you're doing that job well, you deserve to be in that job regardless of your size.
Yeah, well, look, we are running out of time. Very, very, very quickly, Hilary, do you stand by what you said in the first place?
I stand by what I said, yes. My choice about the nursery was really only a small part of my argument, which was about we need to think about obesity as a health issue, not as an appearance issue. Okay. And that was just an anecdote.
Very good. Lots of you getting in touch, as you could expect. Anna says, I'd be more concerned about the lady being a good teacher. Sarah says, what sets a bad example is not being accepting of others. Vicky says, how would the mother like it if a nursery refused to accept her child because the parents were overweight? All sorts of different angles there. Thank you very much. Keep them coming in. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.